Welcome to the CompTIA Security Plus SY0-701 Question Bank Series. In this video, I've got 15 exam-style practice questions lined up for you, covering the kind of general security concepts, threat and vulnerability, security architecture, security operations, and program management scenarios you'll see on the real SY0-701 exam. Each question comes with the correct answer and a full explanation, including why the wrong options are wrong. Here's how to get the most out of this. When a question appears, pause the video, pick your answer, then hit play to check yourself. Ready? Let's dive in. Question 46. An organization is breached because malicious code was inserted into a trusted software vendor's update, which the organization then installed. Which type of risk does this illustrate? The correct answer is B, supply chain attack. Compromising a trusted third-party vendor to reach its customers is a supply chain attack. Now, why the other options are wrong? Insider threat is incorrect. The malicious actor operated within the vendor's supply chain, not as an employee of the breached organization. Phishing is incorrect. Phishing uses deceptive messages. Here, the compromise came through a software update. Watering hole is incorrect. A watering hole compromises a website that targets visit, not a software update mechanism. Question 47. A SIEM alerts that a user account logged in from New York and 12 minutes later from Singapore. Which indicator of compromise does this best represent? The correct answer is C, impossible travel. Logins from distant locations within an impossibly short time indicate compromised credentials, impossible travel. Now, why the other options are wrong? Resource consumption is incorrect. Resource consumption refers to abnormal CPU, memory, or bandwidth use, not a geographic anomaly. Account lockout is incorrect. Account lockout results from repeated failed logins, which is not what the alert describes. Data exfiltration is incorrect. Data exfiltration is unauthorized data transfer. The alert is about login locations, not data movement. Question 48. A development team wants to package an application with its dependencies so it runs consistently across environments while sharing the host operating system kernel. Which technology best fits? The correct answer is D, containerization. Containers package an application and its dependencies and share the host OS kernel for lightweight, consistent deployment. Now, why the other options are wrong? Type 1 hypervisor is incorrect. A Type 1 hypervisor runs full virtual machines with separate operating systems, not lightweight containers sharing the host kernel. Serverless functions is incorrect. Serverless runs code without managing servers, but is not about packaging an app with its dependencies on a shared kernel. Virtual desktop infrastructure is incorrect. VDI delivers remote desktops to users. It is not an application packaging method. Question 49. An operations team defines and provisions its cloud network and servers entirely through version-controlled configuration files rather than manual setup. Which practice is this? The correct answer is A, infrastructure as code. Defining and provisioning infrastructure through machine-readable, version-controlled files is infrastructure as code. Now, why the other options are wrong? Continuous integration is incorrect. Continuous integration automates merging and testing of application code, not the provisioning of infrastructure. Software-defined networking is incorrect. SDN decouples network control from hardware, but is narrower than codifying all infrastructure provisioning. Virtualization is incorrect. Virtualization abstracts physical hardware. It is not specifically the practice of codifying provisioning. Question 50. A company wants to inspect and filter HTTP traffic to its web application to block attacks such as SQL injection and cross-site scripting. Which control is best suited? The correct answer is B, Web Application Firewall. A WAF inspects HTTPS traffic and blocks application layer attacks, such as SQL injection and XSS. Now, why the other options are wrong? Network firewall is incorrect. A traditional network firewall filters by ports, IP addresses, and protocols, not application layer web attacks. Load balancer is incorrect. A load balancer distributes traffic across servers. It does not inspect for web application attacks. VPN concentrator is incorrect. A VPN concentrator terminates VPN tunnels and is unrelated to filtering web attacks. Question 51. Administrators must connect to servers in a secured network segment only through a single hardened host that is monitored and logged. What is this host called? The correct answer is C, jump server, bastion host. A jump server is a hardened, monitored host used as the single controlled entry point into a protected segment. Now, why the other options are wrong? Proxy server is incorrect. A proxy forwards client requests, typically for web access, rather than serving as a controlled administrative entry point. Honeypot is incorrect. A honeypot is a decoy designed to attract attackers, not a legitimate administrative access point. File server is incorrect. A file server stores and serves files. It is not an access control gateway. Question 52. A security team wants all remote users' internet traffic to pass through the corporate VPN so it can be inspected, rather than going directly to the internet. Which VPN configuration achieves this? The correct answer is D, full tunneling. Full tunnel routes all of the remote user's traffic through the VPN so it can be inspected. Now, why the other options are wrong? Split tunneling is incorrect. Split tunneling sends only corporate-bound traffic through the VPN, the opposite of the requirement. Clientless VPN is incorrect. A clientless VPN provides browser-based access to specific resources. It does not route all of a device's traffic. Site-to-site VPN is incorrect. A site-to-site VPN connects entire networks, not individual remote users' internet traffic. Question 53. Which term describes data that is actively being processed in a system's memory or CPU, as opposed to being stored or transmitted? The correct answer is A, data in use. Data in use is data being actively processed in memory or the CPU. Now, why the other options are wrong? Data at rest is incorrect. Data at rest is stored on disk or other media, not actively being processed. Data in transit is incorrect. Data in transit is moving across a network. Data masking is incorrect. Data masking is a technique to obscure data, not a state of data. Question 54. To reduce PCI DSS scope, a retailer replaces stored credit card numbers with non-sensitive substitute values that have no mathematical relationship to the original and require a separate vault to reverse. Which technique is this? The correct answer is B, tokenization. Tokenization swaps sensitive data for unrelated tokens, with the mapping held in a secure vault. Now, why the other options are wrong? Encryption is incorrect. Encryption uses a reversible algorithm and key. The resulting ciphertext is mathematically derived from the original value. Hashing is incorrect. Hashing is one way and cannot be reversed back to the original card number. Masking is incorrect. Masking hides portions of data for display, but does not substitute values via a separate vault. Question 55. A backup strategy captures all data that has changed since the last full backup, regardless of any backups taken in between. Which backup type is this? The correct answer is C, differential backup. A differential backup captures all changes made since the last full backup. Now, why the other options are wrong? Full backup is incorrect. A full backup copies all data each time, not only what changed since the last full backup. Incremental backup is incorrect. An incremental backup captures changes since the last backup of any type, not since the last full backup. Snapshot is incorrect. A snapshot is a point-in-time image of a system or volume, not this backup rotation type. Question 56. A server needs disk redundancy that can tolerate a single drive failure while using striping with distributed parity. Which RAID level provides this? The correct answer is D, RAID 5. RAID 5 uses striping with distributed parity and can tolerate a single drive failure. Now, why the other options are wrong? RAID 0 is incorrect. RAID 0 stripes data with no redundancy, so a single drive failure loses all data. RAID 1 is incorrect. RAID 1 mirrors data, providing redundancy, but without striping with distributed parity. RAID 10 is incorrect. RAID 10 uses mirrored stripes. It is redundant, but not parity-based. Question 57. During disaster recovery planning, a business states it can tolerate losing at most 15 minutes of data. Which metric does this define? The correct answer is A, Recovery Point Objective, RPO. RPO is the maximum acceptable amount of data loss, expressed as a point in time before the disruption. Now, why the other options are wrong? Recovery Time Objective, RTO, is incorrect. RTO is the maximum acceptable time to restore service, not the amount of data loss. Mean Time to Repair, MTTR, is incorrect. MTTR is the average time required to repair a failed component. Mean Time Between Failures, MTBF, is incorrect. MTBF is the average operating time between failures of a system. Question 58. Before allowing a device onto the corporate network, a system checks that it has current antivirus and the latest patches, quarantining it if it does not. Which technology performs this? The correct answer is B, Network Access Control, NAC. NAC evaluates a device's posture and then permits, denies, or quarantines its network access. Now, why the other options are wrong? VPN is incorrect. A VPN provides an encrypted tunnel. It does not assess a device's security posture for admission. DLP is incorrect. Data loss prevention focuses on preventing data exfiltration, not controlling network admission. IPS is incorrect. An IPS blocks malicious traffic, but does not perform posture-based network admission. Question 59. A company must transfer files to a partner over an encrypted channel. Which protocol should replace plain FTP? The correct answer is C, SFTP. SSH File Transfer Protocol encrypts file transfers over an SSH-secured channel. Now, why the other options are wrong? Telnet is incorrect. Telnet is an unencrypted remote terminal protocol and provides no protection. HTTP is incorrect. HTTP transmits web traffic in clear text and is not a secure file transfer protocol. SNMPv1 is incorrect. SNMPv1 is an unencrypted network management protocol, not a secure file transfer method. Question 60. A login requires a password and a one-time code generated by an app on the user's phone. Which security principle does combining these two requirements implement? The correct answer is D, multi-factor authentication. Requiring two different factor types, something you know plus something you have, is multi-factor authentication. Now, why the other options are wrong? Single sign-on is incorrect. Single sign-on lets one login grant access to many systems. It is not about combining authentication factors. Federation is incorrect. Federation extends identity across organizations and is unrelated to the number of factors used. Least privilege is incorrect. Least privilege limits a user's access rights. It does not describe using multiple authentication factors. And that's a wrap on this video. Nice work getting through those 15 questions. If this helped, you're going to want the complete set. All 540 exam-style questions, with full explanations across all 5 SY0-701 domains, are available in my Udemy course, CompTIA Security Plus, SY0-701, 6 practice exams. The link is in the description below. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next video, where I'll walk you through 15 more questions. See you in the next video!